Welcome, everyone. It is Sunday, August 21st, 2022, and we are in the Morgellons Call of the Week, and we are starting our Q&A section. So we're opening the lines, and people ask questions, give updates on how they're doing, and here we go.
My question is about dehydrated vegetables, the vegetables that are approved on the diet, and I wanted your take on the dehydration of the vegetables, because I know that there are some that are being marketed now, and I was just curious about, if that would be feeding springtails or
You're talking about dried? What do you mean?
Yeah, they're dehydrated. I'm seeing the vegetables. The ones I think I saw broccoli dehydrated. I think that's what I saw. But there are a lot of dehydrated, products out there, and I was just interested in the vegetable, issue.
I'm not really familiar with dehydrated vegetables, other than frozen ones, but they're not necessarily dehydrated. So I don't really have an answer. If they're not adding anything, just taking out water, I don't really know what impact it may have on nutrient value either. I would always say go fresh whenever possible. Go organic and go fresh. But I don't really have any opinion myself. Robin?
I think that if you're buying them in a store, you still have to read ingredients. You always have to read ingredients. If you're going to create dried vegetables, just like dried fruit yourself, then it's fine, and it could be a crunchy snack, which satisfies the need to crunch on things. But I don't know how many nutrients get lost in the process either, so something to research.
Yeah, I was just wondering about molds and that type of thing.
We're not experts on that. Sorry, we'll have to pass.
Okay, I appreciate it. The other real quick question, if I could, please, about the alkalized dark chocolate. What makes that not mold-ridden? I understand that mold is not as prevalent on the alkalized chocolate.
You don't know about that either, and the fact is, all mold, even the blue cheese is okay in stage 2 of the diet, which is amazing, and that's about as moldy as you can get. So, the mold thing about there's so many different types of mold and fungi. So I really don't have an answer for you there. Robin, you have any?
Mold in dried vegetables?
Chocolate you're talking about.
It's never been an issue for me. I'm super sensitive to chocolate, so even chocolate with alkali, I have to be careful. But I don't think it has anything to do with mold. Chocolate has so much antioxidants and so many prebiotics, I think, and wonderful things in it. I would not worry about mold.
It's a superfood.
Right. So the alkalis, it doesn't. I mean, it definitely can make a difference, though, right? If it's alkali, like you have the dark chocolate.
Yeah, alkali helps it work with the diet.
Yeah, the chocolates that you buy in Milky Way and stuff like that have lecithin in it, and lecithin is fine generally, but for us it feeds the organism, so it's not good for us. Not because it's not healthy. It's just that the organisms love lecithin.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Next, Chris.
A couple of weeks ago, I think I had a Big Mac, a Mack truck experience with my eye. I ended up in ER for an abrasion, and they said it was the largest abrasion they'd ever seen, and that they'd never seen anything like it before, that it was in the shape of a square, and that the edges were like clear cut. And I was cleansing my eyes for your protocol, and then it just got very painful and I couldn't open my eyes, so that was when I ended up in ER. And then they put me on erythromycin, and I went to an ophthalmologist and had to have it checked. And with the erythromycin, it healed up within a couple days. But I'm curious as to, they come out of the eye, or do they scratch on the surface?
I don't know. They get in your eyes and they can cause all kinds of problems. Some people end up with scratched corneas, and we suspect and surmise it's from the organisms doing damage there. So I'm not an ophthalmologist. I don't really know. I only know from people's experience and how they clean their eyes and how they've gotten their eyesight back or improvement with their eyes. But I really don't. I'm not an ophthalmologist and I can't answer any technical questions like that.
Okay, yes, I did but I'm apprehensive about doing any further cleaning right now.
Well, I wonder what protocol you were doing on your eyes, because I personally had lots of issues with eyes, and I had stuff in my eyes, but I never had scratches.
I was using the saline solution with with the wipe, where you just put one drop in with like one capful of saline solution, and that's what I was doing. But my eye was really bothering me before then. It just felt,
saline. So the saline solution, it really, in my opinion, is just to use if you get something in your eye, like a piece of something, and you're washing your eye out, and you use it with a wash glass. But if you want to do a regular thing with your eyes, I would just use 100% colloidal silver. I was wondering what protocol to do next. Yes.
In the book, there are about 5 or 6 different things, and we can't say that one will work for everybody. You try it, and if it doesn't work, you go to another one.
Right. But I mean, the people that I have coached with colloidal silver, when your eyes are bad, you do it every 15 or 20 minutes, and it can take up to a week to clear your eyes, but it works.
The frequency that you were doing the eye wash, how frequently were you doing it?
I was doing about like every 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. That was frequent enough.
But I will try the colloidal silver. I'm going to wait a little while yet and let more healing, for my abrasion.
Okay.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And
thank you for attending.
Diet work is the answer, though. It's a difficult discipline, and I'm still struggling with it, but I've had such a vast improvement. It's really amazing. And yes, I believe it's the diet that's the big healer. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Keep coming back. Okay, who's next, Chris?
The first one is, I have went through the black skin droppings. My skin is clear, but I have so many fibers in a bowel movement, it's crazy. They are in balls mixed in with the poop, millions of them. Do I have them growing on everything inside me? What can I do? All my skin has healed.
Fortunately, the skin has improved dramatically, and now, as we know, the organisms are systemic, meaning they're internal and are going to show up in the poop, for many people. We have an enzyme in the store. It's a systemic enzyme. It's called Sericor. And the purpose of this enzyme is to exactly do that, to scavenge up in the bloodstream and all the organs any fibrous material and to dissolve it. So that would be my suggestion. I also sent him the questionnaire and asked him to complete it so he can get the complete protocol and tackle it instead of piecemeal, really go after it. I mean, it's amazing how many people, it's not cheap, and it's unfortunate that the things are not covered by Medicare or health insurance or things like that. But the bottom line is, it's not cheap to get your life back. And looking at, I'm not here to push our store. Our store has everything in it that most people are going to want to get their lives back at reasonable prices. Bar of soap, for instance. Our Nature's Gift bar of soap is about $9.95. It's about, 5 ounces? And I went to, this morning, I went to Asbury Park, and they had a lot of people with tents up selling things. One lady was selling a bar of soap. It was like, couldn't be more than 2.5 ounces for $10, $8 and $10. And it doesn't even have Nature's Gift in it. So, I mean, our things are very reasonably priced when you really look at it. It has Nature's Gift in it, which is incredible cleaning solution. So we provide all of this information for you free, and I only ask in exchange that you do support our store. And because that's what keeps me paying Chris's salary and Dale's salary, and everybody is associated and keeps me here. So, okay, the main protocol is very extensive. It includes the pack of life that with a I can't fathom, for instance, how anyone can be dealing with these organisms and not taking multiple vitamins. That's fundamental. And then minerals. For the most part, you'll get multiple vitamins with minerals. If you go into any health food store, they don't sell just multiple vitamins typically, and then minerals. They don't. Unfortunately, every brand I've looked at has other ingredients in it that are going to feed the parasites. So the multiple vitamins that we have, and a lady contacted me this week about having a problem, and she was trying to use her multiple vitamins that she always uses. I've looked at them all. The only ones that work are the ones that we have in the store. We're so fortunate to have found them, and the minerals as well. So I can't fathom how anybody can get their lives back without the fundamentals of nutrition and building vitamins and minerals. You just don't get the vitamins and minerals from the foods that you eat, because the fertilizers are not, they don't contain the minerals. They contain the minerals to make the plant grow and yield, but not the minerals to support our health and well-being. Okay, so what's the next question you have?
The next question is from Ronald, and his first email says, "Hello, Richard. I'm suffering from something I can't even explain. 4 years now. Video through Zoom in close, and do you have any idea? I can't take much more of this. Nothing is working. I'm about to give up. Please steer me on the direction. I'll send some other photos."
I get many emails like this. Please help. I'm in despair. And I checked Ronald's email and found that he'd been in the program for 3 years. So I wrote back, have you started a diet? Have you made it work? Because without that, as I mentioned in the previous segment, I have no idea how anybody can succeed. And we know making the diet work is not easy. Our first segment, we had Nick share that it took him 2 months to make the diet work. Robin will graciously share with you, it took her 2 months to make the diet work. And it's worth it. So whatever it is we need to do, we need to make the diet work. So that's my first question. Anybody who writes me a scant email like that and asks for help, the first thing I do is check and see how long you've been in the program. And if you've been in 2 years or, 6 months, I say, what the hell have you been doing? So I asked him, and he wrote back. Now, this is the email that I like to get. Would you read his next email?
Yes, he says, I have tried many of your recommendations. I bought lots of things from your store. I have tried the diet, and I'll do okay, but I struggle with it. I'm constantly on the go. Also, I'm working in a prison where I'm limited to what I can have to eat at work, where I spend much of my time. I bought the soaps more than once, and it doesn't work good. Cleaner, mouthwash, ear clean, disinfectant, vitamins, and the electric static sprayer. I want to do the medications if that is an option. I watch you on YouTube. Anyone I talk to about it, and the doctors, I yell at them to watch you. I just can't get ahead of this, and I see some crazy things. Almost don't tell anyone about it because they won't believe me. See strange things on my camera. I was wondering if you recognize any of it to help me take a step in the right direction. Here are a few pictures of me and some things I captured. I'm sorry I struggle with the diet. It doesn't make me a bad person because of it. Having the head fog, nothing is easy. It's all hard to understand. Would the 4 medications help that you talk about?
Okay, this email tells me a lot. This is the kind of email I want to get from people who are struggling because it tells me just about everything. But the bottom line is, with a diet, I'm struggling. Okay, so in our first interview with Nick, he overcame being 400 pounds and getting a bath. I mean, he overcame. We all have our problems. We all have our challenges. And the challenge is to make this diet work. So what I sent him back was a video that we did about maybe a month ago. Robin, it was Robin's idea, and that is organizing for success, where she went through all the things that she does. She makes her food a week in advance. She puts them away in the refrigerator. She does all of this stuff, and she's prepared. She thinks ahead. So I sent him that video to watch because these organisms are like a second job. They don't care. They don't care. We have to overcome our obstacles ourselves. We have to figure it out. Robin and I and Mary and Chris, we're here to support you in figuring that out and answering those questions. But it's up to you to figure it out and make it work. So whatever it is, being in a prison or not, you have to figure out how to make it work. Obviously, controlling the environment may be an issue. He didn't get into that. He didn't tell me in his email that, well, in the prison, I'm constantly feeling them from this source or that source. So I don't know where he is with that. But all of these are challenges, and it's important to overcome them. Now, he sent along some pictures, and yeah, I don't really relish getting pictures from people, but a couple of them are typical of what most people send me with Morgellons. Now, what the others were, I have no idea, and I just wrote him back and said, these are typical of what people generally send to me thinking they had no Morgellons. This is not a diagnosis. I am not diagnosing you. This is just what other people send me thinking they have Morgellons. And if you read Dr. Satterley's book, you'll see that filaments and fibers are an indication of Morgellons. That's educational. Now, he also asked about the medications. And the medications are, and every month I send out an email with a guide to taking the different medications. The medications are very important. For number one, if you go back, he said he watches a lot of the videos. I think one of the most important videos we have ever done, and it's easy to remember, it's Mother's Day. We did it on Mother's Day, used a corny title, Undressing Morgellons on Mother's Day, and it goes into all the different cofactors. Cofactors, in other words, intestinal parasites, we all have them. That's known. And it's not my statement, but if you go back in the blog and you look in intestinal parasites, you'll see some references from other professionals who state that if you have a heartbeat, you have intestinal parasites. So that means everybody on this planet has intestinal parasites. How big a problem are they? For most people, they're insignificant. We live copacetically with them. No big deal. But along comes Morgellons, and boom, it's like the straw that breaks the camel's back, and all of a sudden they become paramount. Can be, not for everybody, but can be a tremendously significant issue. So in my protocol, number one, assume you have them because we're humans, we have a heartbeat, they're there. Are they a problem? Creating a problem? We don't know, but let's just get rid of them. They're cofactors. We don't need them. So we consume diatomaceous earth, and there is a protocol for that. In fact, a video on it as well. We consume the mouthwash. It's like drinking charcoal, because our mouthwash is liquid carbon. That's what nature's gift is. And fenbenzidol. Fenbenzidol is definitely important. Now, now ivermectin is also in a wormer, or dewormer. Fenbenzidol is a dewormer. From my experience in working with hundreds of people, fenbenzidol produces more results than ivermectin. I've always said, and from the reports that I get from people, that ivermectin is a status quo medication. It doesn't make much of a difference. Maybe it's because of how it's taken, as opposed to fenbenzidol. You do it week after week after week after week, whereas ivermectin, you do it one treatment time, and then you're done with it. And you maybe do it a few weeks later, but so I don't know. So fenbenzidol, absolutely. Then Lufenuron. Since 2006, I've been recommending Lufenuron. People have written me time and time again, Lufenuron cured me. No, it didn't. No. It dealt with the fungal issues, and it dealt with the meticulation of the eggs that mites in the springtails lay. And so it got rid of those two cofactors, and then Morgellons became a pussycat and fell. Okay? So Lufenuron, we can't actually send you to a doctor or a lab and get tests so that you can be diagnosed and determine that you need Lufenuron. It just seems to be a thing to do. Dr. Luna, who provides these medications, I've had many email communications with him, has a cancer clinic in Mexico. He has everybody do Lufenuron. Why? Get rid of possible cofactors. That's all. To get rid of any possible cofactors. He recognizes that fungal issues and mites and things of that can be play a factor in cancer as well. So let's get rid of those variables so we don't have to deal with it. So he recommends Lufenuron, and Lufenuron is wonderful. Now, recently, he brought on Nitenpyram. Now, Nitenpyram has been a blessing for many people because some of us have mites living in our skin. Of course, the experts say they can't be there, although they acknowledge that scabies can live in your skin, but that's apparently the only kind of mite they recognize that's capable of living in your skin. And our experience says that's not so. There are other mites that can inhabit our skin as well. And Nitenpyram has been a game changer for many people as well. So I can't say which one because we can't get diagnostics to provide a diagnosis. But if you suspect that you're dealing with mites, then it can be a game changer. And the good news is you can do all three medications simultaneously. So I'm not, again, I'm not a doctor, and the FDA requires me to tell you before you accept our recommendations or my recommendations that you discuss them thoroughly with your doctor to make sure they do not interfere with any health problems you may presently be experiencing. Of course, when you talk to him about Lufenuron, which is not prescribed in the medical world except in the veterinarian world, and you talk about fenbendazole and you talk about Nitenpyram, he'll probably think you're nuts. But he's the king. You listen to him, all right? Not me, because I don't want to be accused of going against your doctor. And we're not here to diagnose, treat, cure, or mitigate any disease. We are not licensed physicians. We do not do that. But we can educate you, and we can tell you about these things, and you can take them under advisement and make your own choices and decisions about your own health.
I'm struggling. The last read that you had, really, I could relate to that. Like, I struggle with my diet. Like, sugar, I really need to cut it out. Like, it's the devil. I quit. I'm an alcoholic, and I quit drinking alcohol for 2.5 years, and I can't cut out the sugar. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm really trying. Dr. Cornish has me starting like a power cleanse thing, so I'm going to send it to you just like to get your feedback. I'm really conflicted, like, with doing these two different, it's definitely doing two different protocols. And I'm struggling with the diet, but like, one of the things I just wanted to share too, like with the, throughout doing the blood work, I found out that I have a virus called CMV, and, since treating that, I've really had a lot of, like, it's been a lot easier. Like, one thing I can recommend for people on here.
Let's start with, did you say she's recommending a parasite cleanse?
Right, yeah.
Okay, what is the cleanse that she's recommending? Does it have wormwood in it? Does it have black walnut hull?
I don't know. That's why I have to look up the ingredients and send it to you before even trying it. I haven't bought it yet, so I was going to send it to you first. I don't think it's going to work with this protocol.
Well, I don't know. She has you on antibiotics?
She has me on clindamycin. She just switched me over from doxycycline to clindamycin.
Okay.
So right now we're working on healing the gut because that's the most important thing. And, and definitely her diet completely lines up with what you want us to, with your protocol. It's basically, she doesn't have it in actual, like, this is what you need to eat, but it's eliminating all the stuff. It's pretty, the King's diet is definitely what I need to stick to in order to make this work. All of her stuff is kind of for my own research at this point because I don't really trust that it's going to be the answer. And it is a lot of, in the end, it will be a lot of different antibiotics, but we're not there yet. So I'm kind of, it's expensive, and but what I was saying is I've treated the CMV, and since treating that, like, it's been a lot easier to, like, the brain fog, all that stuff, like, so, like, definitely getting blood work done was so important for that because I wouldn't have known, and it is, from doing research, that is a big cofactor for Morgellons. So, I'm struggling, and I can relate, and that's kind of all I really wanted to share. Oh, she had me. She wrote a topical ivermectin cream, and the other one was like naproxen. So it's really nothing like too different than like what I would be getting at a typical doctor, other than the validation. Also, like, I'm seeing like the flying organisms. I just had one jump out out of the trash, I did a
Yeah, I'm having trouble following you. You're speaking kind of fast, and I'm having trouble following you. You said you're seeing flying organisms?
yeah, the flying organisms. That's kind of been a problem. So I'm going to reach out to Robin this week and set up like a private call, coaching call, because she helped me before with like getting my environment under control. So that's a big thing too for me. So yeah, I just wanted to touch base. I haven't been on the call the last couple of weeks because I've been busy with my little one. So yeah, thank you so much for hosting.
Does Dr. Cornish have any suggestions for you regarding your environment, or does she kind of ignore the environment?
She definitely, keeping the environment clean is huge. They won't say that this is, able to transmit. She, says that it's the cofactors are in the environment. So that is kind of like the way she goes around saying that, yeah, you can give this to someone else.
Just keep your environment clean. You don't necessarily have to use anything to kill anything like ammonia or any other disinfectant.
She didn't give me anything really. One of the things she did was, soaking, bathing, and a foot bath was like a thing for her with Epsom salt.
Well, they're moving along in the right direction anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I really don't know what to tell you exactly. Mixing protocols. I went through the medical route. Dr. Cornish, for those of you who are unfamiliar, is one of the doctors that are listed in my book that treats Morgellons generally as Lyme disease. That's how they diagnose it. They don't diagnose it as Morgellons. They diagnose it generally as Lyme disease. And it's true that according, I guess, 90% of the people in your blood work, did they find Lyme disease?
I haven't found Lyme. She has me doing other tests, but I guess that the protocol is really to treat Bartonella. Now, I definitely believe that I had Bartonella because I have like all the markings and everything else. And I had a flea infestation at my dad's house a couple of years ago, and flea vector is Bartonella. But they said that it's really hard to detect in the blood work. So she wanted me to do like this other expensive blood work, but I declined because I was knowing that it's so hard to detect even with all these testing and it's so expensive. I'm not working right now. I'm just trying to use sources where I can. I'm blessed to be able to, do this as a...
Are you using our Pack of Life, the vitamins, minerals, Max One, and are you using...
Just listening to you talk about that, and she wants me to take a vitamin. So I'm gonna get on the store. I have to order your soap and everything else. I have to re-up on everything today. So I wanted to do it after the call so I could know what the best things. And there was another one that you just mentioned that you said was a game changer. And I think I wrote it down, but So I'm doing that right now.
Okay. All right. Well, keep us up to date as to what's happening, and we appreciate it. Thank you.